right, it is a fencing day. All about electric fence. We got this. All right, guys, welcome to my 4 acres. This is where I'm raising right now 2 steers. I've got 2 more on the way, and the problem I need to solve today is this stuff right here. So this is poly rope, and it goes around my entire perimeter of the 4 acres. The problem is it loses voltage quite dramatically as you get farther away from the charger, and that's something I learned late last year, because this one got out a few times. Not out of the fence, but out of my paddock, so that was just annoying. But I found out my shock was really low out here, and I'm in the back of the pasture right now, so like opposite side of the field from my fence charger. So I rotationally graze. I've got 1 year down, but since I've got 2 more steers coming, I'll have 4, and I really don't want them getting out and slipping around. And so I want to make sure today's plan is start running a smooth high tensile wire, probably right below. So I'll do a line about here, all the way around. That way I get a nice shock everywhere. And so these guys stay in. But yeah, that's the plan. So I'll show some of the steps, what I'm planning. I've never run high tensile before, so first time with that material, so I'm going to try and figure this out. But yeah, I'm going to get started. Alright, so here's what I got to solve this problem. So I got like the standard size T-post insulators, and I got some extended ones. Then I'm gonna try these out. These will go in the corner. We'll wrap the wire around that and then pull tension. So we'll try that. My backup plan is these eye bolts. So I screw an eye bolt in, then pull tension from that into one of these corner post insulators. So I picked up, I think 2 bags. Yeah, 2 bags of these, just in case. Then I've also got this spinning Jenny, because the only roll they had was 4,000 feet. So I got the biggest roll, and that's a mess. If you don't have one of these, from what I understand, so I picked this up. Got a bunch of these to pull tension. I'm gonna keep it pretty low tension, just enough so it doesn't sag. But yeah, I got that, and then I got a few connections when I'm going under gates and stuff, so to make sure that's all good. And then I also got more of these. I use these a ton, honestly, but these are, you see the picture, it goes on the wood posts, and then the smooth wire will go through that. So that is all the insulators I've got. And then I didn't put the wire on the desk here because it's super heavy, but you'll see it out there. Alright, well, let me show you, what the real problem is. So here is charger's right up there. So let's check the voltage over here. Get a good reading. 4700. Yeah, 4700. Okay, let's call it that. That's not very good, but that's right next to my charger pretty much. Now let's go over here. This is the end of the run, so it goes all the way around the perimeter going that way. So it starts there and it goes all the way around and comes up through here. And my problem is I'm losing charge by the end, or really throughout, but let's see what this reads. So stick that ground in there. 1900. I gotta get a better reading, come on. 0.6. I keep adjusting it. 0.6. There's no way that's it. 0.5. 0.6. Holy shit. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I just had this tied on to get out here. Spare wire and all, you know. But yeah, what I'm gonna do, so I gotta wrap this around, but I'm gonna put this on here. I ain't never used one of these. So maybe I go like that. Yeah, and then this got to get wrapped around the post, so then I can come back. Or do I just... I don't even know how to use this thing. I'm not sure. Let me think about this, and then I'll come back. Because I know it's got to go around the post. This wire's got to go around the post, because what I'm going to do is insulate a corner. So I'm going to get this thing wrapped around... Get it wrapped around that corner. What I need is this to be here like that. Hanging out like there. And that way the wire will come in there and then boom, go that way again. So let me figure out how to rig this. Yeah, I guess I could do that. Get a couple wraps. Yeah, let's try it. And that, I would just have to cross over. So that like that. And then this, I just have to cut, wrap, right? Probably a little tighter, like there. Oh shit, that doesn't. Because I'll go through. Yeah, that'd be insulated. So I gotta go right there, I just gotta cut that. So one sec, yeah. So about there, I'll just cut it long. Because I really just want it like here. This doesn't feel right. I want it there. Should I be wrapping out here? Maybe. Oh yeah, well I could just do that. Yeah. Do 2, 3 wraps here. Then come back. Oh hell, okay, that's not pretty, but that should work. So it'll come through there, off that post, through this hole, and continue on. I don't know if I did that right, but it feels pretty tight. And if I pull it that way, it's not gonna, because that next post will be insulated. So yeah, that'll work. I'm gonna do that. Okay, I'm just gonna do that on the rest of them. All right, I'm gonna try and get in there and show you a revised method for doing this. So we're going up on the 5th now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I want it about right there. I've got 2 more corners to do, so let's try this one. There we go. So I'm just gonna wrap this, and I'm reusing some wire I had, so it is not perfectly straight, good stuff. I mean, I'm just working with, I tried to reuse some of the stuff I had. So look, there we go. Okay, and then what I'm gonna do is, you see now I got all this tail. I'm gonna cut it probably about, I don't want to go too short. I'll go there. And now I'm gonna mount this thing like so. Because what I want it to do is come back like that. You see? And I'm gonna have a wire. See, there's a hole there. So I want it to be mounted right about there. So that way when I come in here, I'll have a nice corner. So I'm gonna take it back and just loop it right there. Yep. Oh yeah, that's much better. See that? So now that's a super tight corner right there, and I'll just, honestly, these tails ain't really hurting nothing. I can just leave it like that. Or you know what? It'll bother me. So let's just go ahead and trim, and that's good. Good enough for me right there. So now you see I got this. That looks a lot better than the first one I did. But look, that's perfect. Nice and tight. Pick these up. And then I'll show you. I also got to put on the regular posts. See how I'm going to use the same material, same insulators I was showing you these. Now I just got to mount it on the 5th one. So I'm going to go ahead, I'll just grab my drill. All right. Okay, so now I'm going to mount these again, going on the 5th wire everywhere. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right above the 5th. So I'm just going to pre-drill right above that 5th. Perfect. And then I've got my insulator. And there's not going to be any real pressure on this. So it can just be hand tight. And that's good there. So smooth wire is just going to go straight through there. So from that corner I just did into here and on the line. So I got to do a bunch more of those and one more corner, but now you've seen the process for what I'm doing there. I'll come back later. All right, now here at the end of the run, let me show you what I'm planning. So I'm going to use this eye bolt. Use that. I'm going to pre-drill. Remember, we're going fifth one up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm gonna go pre-drill right there. That's good. I'm gonna go throw this in. I'm gonna try and go pretty deep with this, because I mean I'm pulling tension. Not too much tension, but you know, like enough where I want something solid in there. And those porcelain insulators I was showing you earlier, I just wasn't feeling so good about those. I'm using them on a shorter run. I'll show you that, but I think I want to bury this thing pretty much to the threads. So let me get this, and then I'll show you what I'm gonna do to come off of this, because obviously this isn't insulated, and that's okay. But I have a plan. The only thing I am worried about is those ratchet things. I forget what they're called, the sprockets to put tension. I'm worrying that if there's enough room between, you know, the line and the fence. So I think it could work here, but I'm not there yet, so we'll get there. But here, so I'm just gonna put that there. I'll show you what I'm planning. No, not these. That's what I used over there. Let me grab what I needed. Some more scrap wire and a piece of pair of pliers. One sec. All right, so off of this eye bolt, I'm planning on just throwing one of these. So, and again, I'm using, you know, this is stuff I would have just thrown out, but I had it, so I'm gonna try and use it. But yeah, basically what I'm gonna do is go in there and then try and get this somewhat tight. Yep. So I'm just wrapping this. This is brace wire that I was just reused brace wire. I think that is sufficient. Then I'm gonna throw one of these on. So let me cut this, get rid of that tail, and then I'm gonna throw this on. Get a few good wraps. Probably a little shorter than I want to be here, but no, that's fine. So that's what I'm doing. That'll be nice. That's as tight as I can go there. Yeah, see? That's fine. And then that hole, this is where it's going to begin. So, I mean, all right, I'm going to come through here and do a little progress update. So, because this will show kind of the pattern before I stretch any wire. So I've got an all wood posts. I've got that type of insulator pre-drilled, screwed it in. Then walking down here, I'm using a 2-inch extension on all these T-posts on the 5th wire up. And then as I keep going, I'll show you the full pattern here before. So as you saw, another on the 5th, and then screw in on the 5th. And then here I've got my made up corner. So you saw me making these up. So it's just looped around the post, tied off there. Then I throw one of these on, and then I looped it. And then you see when I come with the actual hot wire will go through this hole. So, And then the pattern continues. I'll show you, more T-posts. So again, mix of screw in and T-posts on the wood. And then I'll just cap it off over here. So I'll show you how it'll terminate. That way you guys see all parts and how I'm doing it. This is how it'll terminate. So I put that eye bolt in there. It's an 8-inch eye bolt. Tied a piece of wire to it and then put another one of these. So when I start the hot wire, I'll just loop it in there and then continue down my run through the corner. So in theory, I'm set up, but this is before any wire is stretched. So we'll come back to that and see if it works. That's the update.